All right, well, let's get into the show. Billboard and Vibe magazines released their list of 50 greatest rappers of all time, and Jay-Z hit that #1 spot. Now, following behind Jay-Z was Kendrick Lamar at #2, Nas at #3, Tupac at #4, and Eminem at #5. Al, let's start with you first. What do you think about this list?
Hey, I think it's pretty amazing. I think based on the criteria, because the criteria is book of work and achievement. We know that in 2008, Jay-Z, he changed the game with that Live Nation deal for 10 years, $150 million. 2011, he broke Elvis's record of the most #1 albums by a solo artist. The second criteria was cultural impact. We know Jay-Z has had a cultural impact with how he's forced the political power, became a political power player with the Obamas during the election, doing fundraisers and performing. And then he also introduced icons like Kanye West and Rihanna. So his shift in the culture is more noticeable than most. And the last is longevity, right? And lyrics. And we know that Jay-Z has been in the game for a very long time. He evolved from a rapper to a cultural influencer, from that now an icon and a mogul. So for me, he is definitely the best choice out of the 4 that was shared based on those criterias.
Q, what you think? What do you think about the list?
You know what? I'm absolutely glad that they chose Jay-Z as #1. But as far as I'm concerned, Claudia and Alan, I'm being completely honest, Billboard can go to hell. They do not have the cultural authority or the cultural infrastructure within their organization to deem anything in the hip-hop world, okay? They are, forgive me, they are a white publication. They are not engulfed enough in the culture to be an authority on anything hip-hop. I'm glad they got Jay-Z as #1, but as far as hip-hop is concerned, I don't want to hear anything Billboard has to say.
This is, I am a huge fan of several of the people on the list, and Jay-Z to me is definitely a true success story. I mean, he's amazing, right? But the list is not valid to me of the 50 greatest rappers. Too Short is not on the list at all. Too Short is one of the best West Coast rappers ever, and iconic, and been around since the 80s. And he's had songs well into his 40s and 50s and having, hits still with the youngsters. Like, I don't know. To me, like, how do you miss that? And some of the people on the list, I'm like, who is that? But, a list is their list. It's not your list. It's not your list. It's subjective, right? It's what you think.
No, it's no. Listen, we keep it real on this show. No, it's them white people at Billboard list. It's their list. And I'm sorry, if the committee was not made up of at least 80% Black people, your list is not valid. I don't want to hear what anything about a room of white millennials from the Upper East Side of New York have to say about hip hop. Billboard magazine has never been the authority on hip hop, and they won't be it now. So while it was cute for vanity purposes, Billboard, you guys would have been better off doing a cover story on Madonna's new face and been taken, got more credit for that and had more validity for that than you would be on hip hop. Leave hip hop alone.
Q, you make a good point, but on this particular list, there were 10 members on the committee that came up with the list, and a number of them were Black. But to your point, we probably should take another look at those 10 people and see where they land in the cultural landscape of understanding hip hop.
And then the funny thing about it is, Al, I don't give a damn whether they were Black, brown, green, or indifferent. Billboard has not historically leaned our way. I'm sorry, if you're not Black, if you were not birthed out of Harlem, New York, or the hip hop culture, you don't have the authority to make a list of the greatest hip hop anything. I would have given Benzino and Dave Mays from the Source magazine more credit to be an authority on hip hop than I would Billboard. Billboard, stay in your place and go over there and cover Britney Spears and her failed what they call it, her failed intervention that didn't happen this week. That's more y'all lane. Stay out of hip hop business.